Welcome back to podcast Conversations on Philippine History, Politics, and Society. Ako si Joselito Ebro.
I am Lee Candelaria.
At ako naman si Vec Alpor.
So, we're continuing Bagay-Bagay, Philippine life through objects. And today, finally, we're talking about the national pastime, basketball. Malalim tong topic na to para sa marami, no? Lalo't kilala ang Pilipinas bilang isang basketball-loving nation. At itong pagmamahal na ito ay ingrained na talaga sa atin at visible pa nga sa mga nagliparang mga basketball courts sa kung saan man.
So, hindi man tayo gifted in terms of height, si Lee outlier yan. Sobrang laki naman ng pagmamahal natin sa larong basketball. Di ba nga yung tagline ng national team natin ay puso ng Gilas Pilipinas, di ba? So, ilang beses natin napatunayan na kahit maliit, or mababa yung average height ng Filipino players natin in the professional scene. Nanalo pa rin tayo ng mga international championships sa Southeast Asian Basketball Association, Asian tournaments, at di ba, yun nga, yung mga ibang international like FIBA Asia. Hindi talaga champion pero we place, di ba? And we compete with much taller teams. So talagang nakatatak yung basketball sa hilig ng mga Pilipino.
Correct, no? And even for my family, kasi my father is tall, so I'm also tall, and I got it from him. And my father was so addicted to basketball. He was part of the high school varsity sa San Sebastian. So talagang he was telling me stories about basketball when he was growing up. And how he loved, for example, watching collegiate basketball games, no? At grabe daw din talaga yung rivalries noon. It was so intense that during games, uso daw na yung magbabatuhan ng piso. Kunyari, kalaban mo yung other university. So, sa stadium, magbabatuhan ng piso. At masakit tamaan ng piso, Na-imagine nyo ba yun? Masakit yun kung tamaan ka nun sa kung saan.
And for context lang, malaki yung piso noon. At
correct.
mabigat.
Tama.
Hindi siya yung maliliit na yun.
Ngayon, maliliit na tas nakakalito na. Kasi parang magkamukha sila ng 5 piso. Pero yun. Or bihira ko na kasing gamitin.
Yeah, oo. Pero yun, ibang level yung basketball especially then, no? In stadiums, kasi hindi pa naman nga TV yung laro dati nung bata yung tatay ko. So talagang stadium levels yung mga laro. And sometimes games would erupt daw into full rumbles and security would just stand back and let them tire themselves out. It's kind of a different time.
So, yung tanong pa rin ay, what is it about basketball that brings out such passion in Filipinos? I mean, meron namang mga ibang sports, pero talagang nothing compares to this obsession.
So, yun nga ang topic natin at i-explore natin today. And we'll be using yung work ni Lou Antolihao called Playing with the Big Boys sa episode na ito. So, from makeshift courts under bridges to packed arenas, from chinelas, no, to Air Jordans, talagang nakatatak yung basketball sa atin. So tara. So, basketball, or yung bola, standard size is size 7 for men, about 29.5 inches in circumference. But you know what's truly Filipino? Yung unang laruan ng mga kabataan natin ay laging plastic basketball. At yung nakalagpas-lagpas ng kaunti sa buhay or nakalagpas-lagpas sa laylayan ng lipunan ay may kasama pang ring yan.
Oo, tama, no. Naalala ko nga yung isang inaanak ko, no, first birthday niya, parang 3 bola, different balls from different ninongs ang kanyang nakuha. So, it's kind of an unspoken rule, no, that one Filipino boy equals 1 basketball as a gift.
Totoo. Yung pamangkin ko, toddler pa lang, nagkabit na yung tatay niya ng basketball ring sa dingding ng kwarto. Tapos shoot na siya doon, di ba? So, from talagang literal na toddler, nagbabasketball na yung mga bata.
Kami kasi nung bata kami, basurahan lang yung ring namin eh. Talagang basta may papel ka, tapos mo lang, crumple mo, shoot na yun. Palag-palag na yun. And then, kahit sira-sira na nga yung bola nun, nilalaro pa rin namin. And I think what's important is we learned how to play with other people, lalo yung mga kaibigan namin na talagang nakapag-build kami ng collaboration, which I think medyo kulang sa kabataan ngayon.
Pero mabalik tayo sa bola, no? The quality of the ball itself is mostly rubber. It's not leather. Leather is for indoor courts, no? Para sa mga laking aircon. So rubber survives our weather, rain, extreme heat, rough concrete, and all. And the official ones used for games really are the orange ones, no? But I've seen other colors rin, no? Meron na rin ngayon yung airless basketball, yung puro butas.
That's
Which
very
I think
cool.
is quite controversial, no, among the community. Pero yung kwento ng tatay ko noon, swerte nang may bola eh. At basta may bola, kahit saan pwede ka maglaro. Parang yun yung point.
Swerte na kung bilog yung bola.
Well, yeah, oo.
Kasi gamit ng gamit, di ba?
Oo.
So, laging may, kahit sa mga sari-sari store, may nagbebenta
maliliit.
ng mga basketball.
Oo, yeah.
Tapos sa mga sa mga time zone, 'di ba?
Yes, oo.
So meron yung mga shoot, meron din naman sa ibang sa mga arcade sa States. Pero naalala ko dati yung time zone, yung price na nakukuha mo with your tickets.
Yes.
Basketball.
Saka marami ka rin pwedeng pagbilhan talaga. And yung mga kahit mabutas kayong bola mo, ang dali niyang maayos eh. May mga vulcanizing shops tayo na talagang nagtatapal para mabigyan ng hangin yung bola na yun. And magkano lang ba yung yung pahangin? 5 pesos?
Isa ka thank you lang eh. Dead mo lang.
After yun, laro na.
Okay, so now let's dive into the history. Ito yung I think medyo fascinating, no? Kasi when basketball arrived in 1910, through the American colonial education system, it was introduced as a women's sport.
Oh, that's so interesting. 'Di ba? Kasi ngayon sobrang male dominated. Wala nanonood halos ng women's basketball sa UAAP.
Yeah.
'Di ba? UP nagka-champion sa UAAP, yung women's basketball, wala namang nanonood. Pero ngayon, recently may recent interest sa WNBA.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Dahil kay Caitlin Clark. Anyway,
So, from 1911 to 1913, Filipinas dominated the interscholastic basketball. The Tondo Intermediate School won the first championship. But they played in long skirts over bloomers, which the Catholic Church eventually deemed inappropriate.
Inappropriate pa yun, no? Long skirts over bloomers, no? Grabe.
Paano pa ngayon?
Paano pa ngayon, no? Anyway, by 1914, women's basketball faded. The men initially dismissed it as a sissy game. No? But when the NCAA was established in 1924, basketball was the main sport. And suddenly, it now had prestige.
yeah, so that's quite the transformation from being a feminine girl, sisi ngayon talagang sobrang macho nung tingin sa basketball, like ang impression kapag hindi ka nagba-basketball sa Pilipinas, tas lalaki ka, 'di ba? Nag-asa rin ka, bading ka, parang ganun.
So our early international success changed everything. Like from 1913 to 1934, we won 9 out of 10 Far Eastern Championship games. And during that time, big deal yon. Lou Salvador scored 116 points in a single game against China. Well, for sure, mahirap nang gawin yan. At wala pang 3-point line noon.
Wala pang 3 points.
Grabe,
Wow.
Try nila ngayon yan. I think it's hard to win a game against China.
That's crazy, yeah.
But here's the crucial part that Antolihao emphasizes, that basketball wasn't just about sport. It was about what he calls playing with modernity. The Americans used it as a tool of Americanization, teaching Filipinos democratic values like teamwork, fair play, and individual excellence within rules.
Tama, So yung basketball from the start, political siya. Yung interesting dyan, nung 1936 Berlin Olympics, yung Philippine team, 5th place. At hanggang ngayon, it's still the best Asian Olympic basketball finish ever.
Almost 100 years ago.
Diba? So, pero more importantly, it was the first time that we competed under our own flag. Kasi 2 years after gaining the Commonwealth status.
Yeah, and then in 1954, it's kind of a golden moment, although we just won bronze, no? Sa FIBA World Championship in Brazil. Carlos Caloy Loizaga, also called the Big Difference, no, was the only Asian player ever selected for the all-tournament team.
Ayun. Saka maganda rin yung pinoint out ni Antolihao, no? na tinawag pa nga niyang Battle of the Ball Games. Kasi before, baseball was a popular sport no, sa Pilipinas. Later on, basketball
totoo.
took over. So ano nangyari?
Yeah, so we were a baseball nation first. Kasi nga, yun naman talaga yung America's favorite. Very interesting kasi ngayon, I'm going through the Hawaiian Sugar Plantation Archives. Tapos alam naman natin na madaming Pilipino yung dinala sa Hawaii para magtrabaho sa mga sugar plantation. Tapos yung maraming mga document na nakita ko, ginagawa ng Hawaiian Sugar Planters Association. They build baseball facilities, like baseball fields para sa mga Pilipino. This was early 1900s. So 1910, 1918, mga ganon. So initially, talagang baseball yung nag-dominate. But there's a brilliant observation in the research of Luan Tolihao. Kasi baseball became associated with the American occupation. Tapos, pero yung basketball, mas na-associate siya sa benevolent America.
Ang galing din kasi for sure, may practical reasons behind it. Kasi baseball needed huge fields. Pero yung as Manila, urbanized, no? Basketball, smaller courts made it more possible and made more sense. Baseball was the rural plantation sport, while basketball was the urban, collegiate, and modern sport.
Yeah, so yan yung isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit nga naging very prominent ang basketball sa Pilipinas. Kaya lang, syempre, yung pag-develop nito at yung participation natin, kumbaga sa global stage, ay lagi pa ring influence ng politika at syempre ng historical context. Like halimbawa, noong 1963, President Diosdado Macapagal refused visas to players of communist countries na yung mga associated with the Soviet Union, like Yugoslavia, when we were hosting the World Championship. Kasi Cold War. Right? So, yung FIBA, sinuspend tayo.
But later on, no, I think even during this time, basketball thrived locally. The MICA, or the Manila Industrial and Commercial Athletic Association, rose into the ranks of a major basketball league. So, kilala na dyan yung teams like Crispa, Toyota, San Miguel, no? And these weren't just teams, they were institutions and big companies. Then, January 23, 1975, 9 teams broke away to form PBA, or the Philippine Basketball Association. So this would later be Asia's first professional basketball league. The Crispa-Toyota rivalry became even more intense, and Robert Jaworski versus Ramon Fernandez was like a special event, or no? Parang a special rivalry na nabuo during that time.
Ang seryoso, no? Talagang sobrang invested yung mga tao. Kasi talagang hindi lang siya laro, hindi lang siya basketball. Talaga, these divided families and friend groups. Yung tatay mo, Crispa, yung tito mo, Toyota, tapos hindi sila mag-uusap kapag playoff.
Big deal din yung yung parang yung story kung saan si Jaworski ay parang after masaktan, parang duguan na siya, dinala siya sa ospital, and then bumalik pa siya to play for I think third quarter or fourth quarter nung game na yon. And this later etched yung idea na never say die. And that started with Jaworski's actions during that time and made him a folk hero. Even now, no, kilala siya bilang living legend. And to any millennial, or let's say to any tito, talagang recognized si Jaworski as a legend. And through martial law, people power, economic crises, basketball provided continuity.
Yes, so in a way, basketball became a constant when everything else was uncertain. Di ba? Parang very poetic.
Yeah.
Naalala ko merong, I don't remember, I think it's in UP Baguio or UP Diliman, but there was like an important political meeting. And then, merong, I think the USC chair at the time, like, took on the mic and said, okay, commercial muna. Pero nanalo ang Bulls, like Chicago Bulls, noong mga panahon na yan. So, yeah, kasi kahit NBA, di ba? Fan yung mga Pilipino.
Yeah. And I think this connects to Antolihao's central argument about this subaltern discourse. Basketball became a space where ordinary Filipinos could symbolically play out their struggles against more powerful forces. I think let's take a break, and when we come back, pag-usapan natin yung cultural significance nitong basketball.
Hi, welcome back to podcast. So pinag-uusapan natin ang basketball, as in yung bola at yung sports. At mas naunawaan natin kung bakit ba baliw na baliw ang mga Pilipino sa sport na to.
Pero kung titingnan, hindi lang siya sports. No? Hindi lang siya talaga focused dun sa laro. And it's about what Antolihao calls playing with the big boys, which relates to like succeeding despite limitations.
Oh, di ba sabi nga ni Vec nung start ng episode na puso, no? Heart over height. Kasi we're not, I mean, I'm tall, but the Filipinos in general are not the tallest people. But we make up for it with speed, skill, and determination. So it's a classic underdog story that resonates with our national experience.
Tama. So, di ba, like we, as a people, we love underdogs. Pero yun nga from a different viewpoint, pwede lang sabihin na mas naging successful yung basketball kasi nga mas accessible. Isang bola, 3 players, mayaman, mahirap, di ba? It doesn't matter kung marami kang pera or wala. You can play it everywhere, di ba? Yung street basketball. Pero I mean, hindi mo siya pwedeng i-simplify or reduce dun eh. Kasi halimbawa, Brazil, they're crazy about football or soccer. Tapos they play it everywhere. Wala din naman silang access masyado sa mga naglalakihang mga field. And they also play it on the streets. Di ba? Why not basketball kung mas madali? So, I don't think it's as simple as that.
Well, iba rin kasi yung nabibigay ng yung presence ng barangay courts. Especially sa mga different barangays and localities, no? Kasi it's like a public space where community gathers, where political rallies were held, even fiestas, no, were actually held, and which shows, no, it's like where people would actually engage in these socializing event na hindi lang sport but rather like a culture that they practice.
Oh, kasi itong basketball court or the barangay court, it's not just a court. No, it performs as a basketball court when we play basketball in it. But any other time, it's a space for gathering, di ba? After nung basketball, pageant naman yung gaganapin dyan, di ba? Yung mga after nung liga, pageant naman. Or kapag may medical mission, doon gagawin. Kahit nga simba doon nagsisimba yung mga tao di ba? I mean, yun yung point It's where people come together. In a way, every barangay court also tells a story about the people in it, no? And it's made community identity much more visible.
Yung isa pang interesting dyan, yung linguistic influence ng basketball sa atin, di ba? Like rebound, di ba? Kapag, alam mo yun, in a relationship, rebound ka lang or whatever. Assist, yung ganon, di ba?
And other basketball related terms, no?
So, what about the social dynamics? So, nabanggit kanina yung importance of basketball courts where social hierarchies are actually or temporarily dissolved. Kasi even yung mga rich kid and the poor kid kids would have their equal share dito sa mga spaces na ito.
Yun yung kagandahan dun Like, the boss can play with the staff in the same game. And we would assume that they're in the same equal footing. Pero kasi, yung basketball kasi is kind of also like medyo bargasan din siya na laro di ba? May pisikalan involved. So, while we can say that medyo nadidissolve yung boundaries dito, hindi din Of course, I would understand na sa basketball, like diplomas don't matter, perhaps, di ba? Kasi it's a physical skill. It's a sport, no? But I think, at the same time, hindi rin siya ganun ka talagang nag-equalize lang din naman ng relationship within society. But what it builds is connections, no? Connections between people hailing from different places or classes.
Halimbawa sa mga barangay liga, 'di ba? Pag summer, nalala ko yung mga pinsan ko kasi puro lalaki and they would like play in this sa mga liga na to. Tapos nalala ko yung isa kong pinsan, yung tatay niya OFW. Tapos alam mo, nagpadala ng balikbayan box yung tatay niya. Kumuha siya ng mga spam. Sabi niya, bibigyan sa teammates ko. Ito yung mga kaibigan niya, hindi niya ito kilala before. Nakilala niya lang when they started playing in the liga, in the barangay
making
liga.
Connections.
Saka doon sa mga barangay na yun, may dayo, di ba? Yung mga dayo. May dayo, tara, pusta, ganyan. And then, mabalik lang ako doon sa mga lingo na talagang tumatak na rin sa kultura natin. Lagi ko naririnig before yung banse.
Banse.
Is yung rebanse. Ibig sabihin, kapag natalo ka, lalaro kayo uli. And sometimes sa mga liga, yung mga natatalo,
Rematch.
parang yung bet mo ay mas lumalaki. To prove lang din na more than sa cost or yung sa taya mo, mas gusto mo pa ring manalo. And that shows din yung i-relate na lang natin dun sa idea of an underdog na talagang nagmamanifest and underscores yung in a sense yung thinking of the masses.
Yeah.
Kasi for example, Ginebra, popular team. And usually Ginebra laging nalalamangan sa first quarter, second quarter, but later on third quarter bumabawi yan at ended up winning. And malaking factor ito sa Filipino society in a sense na talagang naging tatak ng masa ang Ginebra.
Oo.
So other teams might have more championships but Ginebra has the people's heart, sabi nga nila.
Yes. Tapos nakakatuwa to kasi 'di ba? I mean, halimbawa sa NBA, yung team mo ay yung team from the city kung saan ka nakatira or yung city sa state mo. So, for example, if you're from Wisconsin, your NBA team is probably gonna be Milwaukee Bucks, 'di ba? So may geographical reasoning behind team loyalty. Sa Pilipinas wala. Kasi yung mga team natin, mga weird, di ba? Ginebra, ano ba yung Ginebra?
Ginebra.
Barangay
Ginebra.
May Barangay Ginebra, tapos San Miguel Beermen or Magnolia Chicken Templados or whatever. Ang weird ng mga ng mga team, di ba? So, saan nanggaling yung loyalty na yon? Di ba? There's a deeper meaning to it. Like, yung character ng players, coaching style, mga ganon.
Actually, you would think na ang mga Pilipino mas loyal pa sa basketball teams nila kesa sa political parties. If come to think of it, no? Kasi like for example, my family has long been like Ginebra fans. My father is a fan. My ate was a crazy fan. So talagang it's something na na-adapt na rin ng mga anak 'di ba? And I think that's interesting, no? How we become loyal to groups like basketball teams, pero in terms of politics, hindi natin na-apply. Pwede naman pala na maging loyal tayo based on the values, for example, of a team like Ginebra, no?
May may mga songs, popular songs before. I think late 90s.
Yes.
Pag nananalo ang Ginebra.
Gary Granada.
I love that song.
Talo ang Ginebra. At masasabi ko na totoo yan eh. Yes. Totoo yung mga nabanggit sa lyrics. Kasi kahit yung ate ko hindi makakain eh kapag natatalo yung Ginebra. At lumaki ako doon na witness ko yung ganong scenario.
Actually, share ko na din yung ate ko din. Diba? Alam mo, nung high school siya, kapag talo ang Ginebra, alam niya na kapag pumasok siya, naglalakad pa lang siya sa corridor, aalaskahin na siya ng mga kaklase niya. Kasi nga alam na fan siya ng Ginebra. So sabi ng ate ko talagang ibababa niya yung buhok niya, tapos medyo papasok siya ng medyo nondescript para hindi siya mapansin. Kasi talagang aalaskahin siya, talo yung team mo, parang ganon.
Di ba? Ang intense ng mga Pilipino. So bago pa tayo maloka-loka sa mga laban ni Pacquiao noong 2000s, di ba? Ito talaga yung spectacle, itong PBA.
Yeah, but that's I think the point din of Antolihao na yun nga, it's a subaltern spectacle. We cheer for the underdog team, but actually we're cheering for ourselves, no? For all the real underdogs outside the court. And we really love that kind of a story, no? Na yung underdog parang last 1 minute mga ganyan or so on mananalo. So it's something na talagang nag-speak to the Filipino culture.
So, 'di ba, yung mga bata halimbawa magsushoot ng nilukot na papel sa mga trash can. Tapos sabi nila, Kobe. like imitating Kobe shots, for example. Pero kung titingnan mo, hindi lang, they're not just imitating their idols kung totoo sila. It's like they're dreaming, di ba? Siguro hindi NBA per se, pero halimbawa college scholarships, di ba? O maging MVP sa Barangay Liga. I think basketball makes these kinds of dreams tangible.
Yeah, and even non-players participate, 'di ba? Kapag may liga, maghahanap ng muse. Kapag may liga, yung parents may involved, may mga nagbebenta ng snacks, yung mga tatay nagko-coach from the sidelines, yung mga girlfriends nag-cheer, yung mga so the point is there's a communal participation. It's not just the players that play. Everybody's playing kasi you're rooting for a team eh.
Kaya naman, it's not uncommon na makita yung mga politicians, no, cashing in on this game. Marami silang mga paliga. Kaya naalala ko si Jolo Revilla, no? Sabi niya, bola muna bago droga. Naalala niyo?
Oo, lalaran like, ano daw?
Pero fun yun, fun.
Oo. Anyways, so yun nga, di ba, yung common criticism sa mga SK, sangguniang kabataan, sabi daw, ang ginagawa lang ng mga yan ay pa-beauty pageant or paliga ng basketball. Pero kasi kailangan din nating isipin na bakit, di ba? Bakit iyon yung tinitingnan na pinakamahalagang proyekto ng sangguniang kabataan or ng barangay, di ba? May dahilan dyan. Kasi nga, it's something very close to our hearts, kumbaga. So, at tulad sinabi kanina, since it's a communal experience, yung demographic na naaabot ng ganitong mga klaseng proyekto ay iba-iba rin. So, yeah, it represents social cohesion, di ba? At yun ay nakakontain sa bola or sa basketball.
So, in present day, no? And this is what Anto Lihao calls it. He calls it Hollywoodization of hoops. How basketball evolved from national symbol to an entertainment spectacle. So, for example, the PBA, so matandang liga na, which should be like gained popularity. But honestly, the attendance is struggling. TV ratings, especially after the pandemic, decreased, no? And arenas are actually empty recently, unless Ginebra game yan.
Yeah. There are multiple factors that play here, of course. No, ticket prices aren't cheap, like 500 to 2,000 pesos para lang sa decent seats. And games often happen on weekday afternoons. Diba? Syempre may mga trabaho yung mga tao. Tsaka, bakit ka magbabayad when you can just stream it in HD, no? Sa YouTube, no? For example, using your phone.
Saka weird yung PBA ngayon di ba? Ano yung may 4 points?
Nagbago ang rules, yeah.
Oo. Di ba? Madaming criticism sa PBA ngayon. Saka may mga ibang liga na. Di ba? Ano yung, meron yung kay Manny Pacquiao, di ba? Meron siyang MPBL na liga ng basketball. And actually, nakakapuno ngayon ng mga arena, UAAP games.
Of course, yeah.
More than PBA. Di ba?
May captured audience.
Tsaka, I think, marami na rin ibang sources of entertainment ngayon, di ba? Mobile games, social media. So, may mga kaagaw na sa atensyon ng masa ang basketball. ML tournaments na pinapanood natin ngayon.
So, bukod pa dyan, no? May issues ng diaspora, especially coming from the players. Like, basketball leagues in Japan, Korea, na mas malaki yung offer. Ilan na ba yung nakita nating players na naglaro sa, let's say, abroad, like Kai Soto, Carl Tamayo, and just recently si Arvin Tolentino? And this sparked concerns from PBA, especially when the commissioner, Willie Marshall, mentioned that bakit sila lumilipat doon? Kawawa naman kami. Paano na yung PBA?
Yeah, the best players na lalo na galing sa collegiate basketball, lumilipad talaga. Like, I think anong pangalan nito? Yung sa UP, si Lebron.
Nakita ko yan.
Francis Lopez. Francis Lopez magbibilig na. Yung Deliano brothers nasa iba't ibang bansa. Never I think naglaro sa PBA pero saglit lang. Yeah. Meron ding brain drain sa basketball.
But can we blame them? They're coming, for example, to Japan, we're a country with better facilities, sports science support, international exposure. Kumbaga, career development siya. Si, di ba, Bobby Ray Parks Jr., 1 year in Japan, improved his game daw, ayon sa kanya, more than several PBA seasons.
Yes, so definitely these kind of, talent drains affect our national team. Kasi paano ka magko-compete kung yung pinakamagagaling natin na players nasa iba't ibang bansa? 'Di ba? Parang unlike halimbawa, isang example yung Team France. 'Di ba? Yun yung mga lumalaban sa Olympics, sa FIBA ganyan. Meron silang training facility. So, itong mga players na to, tumatanda na to sa team. Like, every FIBA game, for example, kilala na sila ng mga tao mula sa Team France. So, yung iba na sa NBA, but still, merong consistency. Unlike sa atin, yung composition ng gilas, iba-iba every year. And the same is true for volleyball. Diba? Pag nanood tayo ng Asian Volleyball League, kaya alam mo na yung mga player ng Thailand.
Yeah.
Sa atin, every year, iba yung player So, kung walang ganong continuity, talagang hindi gagaling yung team. And I think ganon yung nangyayari sa basketball.
Sobrang iksi nga nung practice time nila. And I think it was mentioned by Tim Cone na parang sobrang hirap sila mag-build ng chemistry. Especially from different teams,
very
different
important.
countries yung members ng national team. And even the schedule of PBA, I think, was a concern. Especially na parang may mga games na hirap talagang i-let go yung mga players nitong national team na ito. Which I think causes decline in the performance, especially in international games.
And then, meron ding mga recent controversies sa basketball. So, ito kailan lang, di ba? Si Jan Amores. Ano bang team ni Jan Amores? Pero sa PBA siya, di ba?
PBA yan eh.
Oo, pero
Tanggal na siya.
nasa PBA siya naglalaro tapos meron siyang inattempt patay, like pinutukan niya ng baril, 'di ba? Attempted
Yung
murder.
ano lang to, nakalaro niya lang yata sa isang
Barangay Liga.
barangay league yata or something, tapos nakipag-away na siya with his brother, tapos binalikan niya with a gun. Grabe, no?
Oo.
Oo. Pero itong taong to may problema talaga to kasi kahit nung nasa NCAA pa to, talagang nananapak talaga to ng kalaban.
Medyo disturbing.
Totoo. Tapos yung isa pang naging issue noong 2018, yung brawl with the Australian team.
Yes.
Yung nagsapakan
Oo.
sila talaga. Oh my God. Talagang nabalita sa buong mundo yun.
Ang disturbing, no? And what message does, for example, a lenient punishment for violence send to young players who idolize these athletes? Kasi parang ang point ay sinasabi na, basketball yan eh. Talagang may ano dyan. It's a violent game kasi may pisikalan talaga dyan. But, it kind of also normalizes violence when in fact, you can play without being violent naman. Di ba?
Tapos, meron pang issue about certain athletes na na-expose for domestic violence, for example. Diba? So, pangalanan natin si Paul Desiderio, halimbawa, na naglalaro din sa PBA. Anong ginawa ng PBA? Yung, diba, kung totoo siyan, yung biktima niya nasa same industry kasi yung ex-partner niya at the time ay courtside reporter, diba? At least, so, pero wala kang narinig. Wala kang, parang kinokondone yung mga ganitong klaseng behavior. Like, player naman siya, hindi, diba? Like, magaling talaga siya or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mahirap din talaga yung ganyang issues. And more than sa or bukod pa dyan sa domestic violence, attempted homicide ni Amores, meron ding gambling na umiikot dito sa mga laro nito. So every game, every level, may pustahan, no? From liga to professional games. Uso ngayon, lalo online na nangyayari, hindi na lang yung physical. Gaya dati.
Oo, naalala ko nung bata ako, usong-uso yan, yung ending. No? Which brings back memories kasi nung sa amin nun, malaki yung ending eh. People would bet on number combinations, 'di ba? Kung natapos yung game, ito yung last digits ng result. If the final score matches your numbers, you win the pot, no? Actually, ako mismo, nagpa-ending ako nung bata ako. Bumili ako nung ending card, tapos nagpataya ako sa mga tao. Kumbaga, I did that like once. I realized ko, okay, I'm not really a people person kasi not a lot of people like bet on my card.
Walang tumaya ako.
Pero yeah, I think I was like 9 years old. Like, I'd walk around asking people like, 2 pesos kada taya. Ganun. Kumbaga, I just realized then, nung panahon na yon, the excitement wasn't just about whose team won. It's actually also about if your number combination hit. Diba? So kahit na talo yung team mo, kung panalo naman yung taya mo, at least may pera ka. Diba?
Pero yung ending, it adds another layer of excitement kasi no, sa game.
Yeah.
And kahit talo yung team mo, pero nanalo ko ng ending, iba pa rin yun.
Yeah,
Panalo ka pa rin, technically.
Mm-mm.
So,
Yeah.
although it can lead to a bad habit, I know people who bet 20, 30 different number combinations every game. Kasi iba rin talaga yung pwede nilang ipanalo from a
Yes.
small
oo.
bet.
But there are also positives, no? Like Tim Cohn coaching Gilas brought renewed energy. If you remember yung 89-80 victory over world number 6 Latvia in 2024, no? I think it's a first win against a European team in official competition since 1960. So that was a staggering
Yeah.
victory. Yeah.
Oo. Tapos ngayon, nauuso na rin yung 3 versus 3 na basketball tournaments. Nasa ibang ibang event na siya sa Olympics actually. Tapos okay to kasi kumbaga hindi ganun kalaki yung space na kailangan mo. So mas accessible kumbaga para sa mga Pilipino.
Saka hindi na lang PBA, no, yung parang source of popularity in basketball. May social media na rin eh. I don't know if you're familiar sa Mavs Phenomenal Basketball YouTube channel, pati yung si Wee na magaling mag 3 points. And I think they got into contracts already sa mga local leagues. So, playground legends go viral, street ballers get endorsement deals. So, hindi na lang PBA ang source of popularity.
But you know, in the Philippines, the infrastructure for basketball remains uneven pa din, no? Syempre, we have world-class arenas, but many provincial venues are substandard. Kumbaga, if we're really looking to build talent from the grassroots, this is a crucial factor. The barangay courts, which is the grassroots foundation of basketball, often lack maintenance despite basketball's popularity. Yung iba nga dyan, di ba, kumbaga wala man sapatos, walang, pero naglalaro pa din, di ba? Of course, we can say na, we're resilient, we can come from these humble backgrounds but still develop. But point is, sayang naman yung possible talent na nawawala without these foundations.
Oo. So, pero ngayon, siguro we can modernize the way we sponsor teams and players, di ba? So, halimbawa, kasi nga, iba na rin yung media. Maybe tech companies and online platforms, they're able to bring fresh perspectives on how not just how the game is played, but how the game is
Yes.
shown to people or distributed, di ba? Iba dun sa traditional approach ng mga teams like San Miguel, Alaska. Ano bang Alaska?
Wala na.
Alaska Aces. Wala na.
So, yung may current challenge pa rin, no? Like the globalizing impact nitong basketball. And going back to Antoli House concern, no? Globalization has threatened local basketball culture, which I think should be addressed by PBA or Filipinos in general.
But I think what's hopeful about this is that meron pa ring mga batang naglalaro, no? I mean, kids are still playing. Kahit na pangit yung court, kahit na sira yung rim, or kahit nga limited yung infrastructure, they're still playing with joy. And I think that's something that you will not change, no?
Oo, nagbo-viral din sa Facebook yung mga yan. Like nakachinelas, walang t-shirt, galaro, tapos ang gagaling nila. Yeah. So after itong discussion na to, no, talagang ma-realize mo how basketball is like embedded in our social fabric bilang isang lipunan. At iba-iba yung source nung pagkahilig natin sa basketball. Like halimbawa, hindi ko alam kung merong ibang bansa na naging sobrang sikat, kung saan naging sobrang sikat yung Slam Dunk.
Yes.
Na anime. Diba? So, sobrang sikat siya nung kapanahunan ko. So, and I think it's because a lot of people related to Hanamichi Sakuragi, which was the main character, na hindi magaling yung basketball and then gumaling siya. Same story, same formula. It's the underdog, becoming a really glorious player. So, yeah, it's more than just a sport. It's become genuinely Filipino despite its, very Western, very American origins.
Yeah, and that's it for our episode on basketball. So from plastic balls sa mga cribs to the dreams of joining a professional league, talagang it's something that it's a story that everyone can relate to.
So next episode, iba naman yung pag-uusapan natin, no? And we will be exploring another significant object. Clue. It saved countless Filipino children from malnutrition. Yun lang.
Maraming salamat sa pakikinig. Until next time, this has been Podcast, Conversations on Philippine History, Politics, and Society. Thank you very much and have a good day.